Epee has two selection of grips that you can choose from. If you're starting out as a beginner, you're likely using a French grip. If you are an advanced epéist, you're probably using a pistol grip. Now there are advantages and disadvantages to both of these grips. We'll start with the French grip. The advantage with the French grip is that you can have a little bit more reach. You can use it in such a way that you can actually reach further. The disadvantage is you don't have as much control with a French grip. Now with a pistol grip, it's the exact opposite. The disadvantage is that you don't have that same kind of reach that you might have with a French grip. The advantage though is that you have a lot more control. So they're both trade-offs. It really depends on your kind of style of fencing and epee. When you're holding a French grip, make sure that you have the pommel and the meat of your hand just above your wrist. Do not hold the French grip so that the pommel is against your wrist or your forearm, because when you try to manipulate the blade, it's going to get stuck. It'll create bruises and swelling from the impact. So again, make sure you're holding the pommel right here in the meat of your hand. Your thumb goes on top, your forefinger goes underneath, you're pinching, that's all the strength you need. Other fingers wrap around. Do note you want a nice amount of distance between your thumb and the base of the guard. You don't want to hold it all the way up for the same reason I just mentioned. Holding a pistol grip is the same as holding one in foil. Your thumb goes on top, wrapped around the horn, and your fingers go underneath. You are pinching with your thumb and forefinger, and it rides up right against the guard. It's very close there. So again, you have a lot of control, but you don't have that same reach that you would with a French grip. When you're making a hit, your hand position's pretty important. You want to make sure that you're pronating it just a little bit. What I mean by pronate is you want your wrist to turn just ever so slightly so your palm is facing further up than it was before. That means your thumb is no longer pointing straight up, it's drifting to the side just a little bit. As an example, when Kyle was making his attacks against me, you were noticing that his blade would sometimes smack up against my mask. The reason why this is happening is he's not pronating his wrist, which means my mask can interfere with the hit a little bit. So when you make the hit, you want to make sure that you're doing so with your arm, not just extending straight forward, but out a little bit with your palm facing up on an angle. This allows you to hit with zero interference from your opponent's mask, and you have a clear view of where it is you're going to land your touch. So again, remember, you want to pronate. Use your thumb. When you extend your arm, make sure it's kind of pointing out to the side, just like that. When you're extending for an attack, it's really important to make sure that your shoulder is relaxed. So when you extend your arm, it stays low, your arm comes up, so you can make the hit. So make sure the shoulder is relaxed. If it's not relaxed, what you're going to see happen is this. It's going to get tight, it's going to pull the guard out in front of your face, and you can't really see where you're going to be hitting, but more importantly, your point control is going to be off. Make sure that that shoulder is relaxed. So it goes up nice and fluid. If it's tight, it's more like you're punching. You don't want to punch. One more thing about your extension. Make sure you have your movements in the right order. That is, your arm goes first, then your feet. So if you're going to be making an attack, you want to extend the arm first, then you can step. Or again, extend the arm, then lunge. Do not start with your feet first, and then extend your arm, because you can be hit in that preparation. Same thing with the lunge. If you lunge, and then you extend your arm, you can be hit in that lunge on the preparation. So make sure it's your arm that goes first. Extend, then the feet. We've touched on the fact that the entire body is a valid target in epee. However, in lesson 2, we really only focused on hitting the torso, but specifically the upper outside line. What I'd like you to see are the different areas of the body that you can exploit as a target. And we're going to start with the closest and then the farthest. So if you're standing in the on guard position, you'll notice that the first target that is closest to your opponent is the arm and the hand. Now the hand is typically very well protected. It's got that large guard, so it's very difficult to hit, but it is the closest part of the body for you to hit. After that, it's the forearm and bicep. These two are pretty close, you can hit them, but as it's your arm, it's easy to move, you can manipulate it, so it's a very lively target. It's not something easy to hit. The next closest target that you can go for is the foot. The foot is always furthest out. The disadvantage is it's a very low line, so it's difficult to get there, and it's a very small target. I can move it. The advantage is sometimes your fencer will forget about their feet. They'll get a little complacent, they won't notice what they're doing, and then you can hit them on the toe. Rising up is the leg. So you can hit just about at the knee or a little higher. It's a larger target, it's a little less likely to move as quickly, so you can go there, but again, it is a low line, so a little bit of risk going there. And now for the furthest target, it is the largest, and that's your torso. There's less risk going for the torso just because it's such a large target. You can hit it, but again, it is a little bit further away, and you can defend it using parries, which you will be learning in lesson 3. But to review, let's go through it again. Targets are hand, arm, torso, leg, foot. Plenty of options for you to attack.